Has anyone seen a country where someone with buildings in space track people's ass cancer are empty? There's a girl called Jamila who was Russian, Saudi, Mir, Polish, Egyptian academies, born in the UN, who had new space tech, darkness, new bombs, or what they call Bankbarians, and some cheapos as pink cancers coming from Poland and Egypt. Empty in the United Nations because of some cheapos in America who smashed her head on the coastlines, and she comes back as Disneyland. She got the number 12 to 1 from Holland. It was on her birthday, on July 20th of the 21st century. Blown to pieces on the coastlines. Okay? You know, she was famous for life. And now she's famous for being a Hagued Disney with American psycho stalkers cheerleading to see me dead. Because they're whores in America got offended that Disneyland came back to life as a phoenix out of the coastlines, genetically speaking. And the PhDs couldn't reopen the show on the coastlines, and they called Jamila Delph the terrorist. My genetic side of it, somehow in Western Europe, German airspace spoke about a famous girl who was known in the United Nations, Russian, Saudi, Polish, Egyptian, with that blood. And I'm dead. Truth is, I'm Disney. In the meantime, in my crawlies and little crawlies, it was Schadenfreude Jr., stupid boys, and men who, even incel, they cannot reopen the coastlines. I think what they call the Disney replacement. So, this innocence itself with that social security number to wonder. And without the social, just the face. From Newkirk, whatever. That's what the name was, Delph. In the meantime, trying to psychoanalyze their Schadenfreude Jr. hate on me. In other words, first they abuse me, and then with their psychos, I don't care. I don't have no pretenses. The Americans are the Americans. I hope they empty those corporations. I hope they empty the Greys and Blacks of Russia and Saudi Arabia in the UN. Not the UN, the US. Because the UN already has empty buildings. They know who that girl was. They're not whores like you in the US. You want to play with Disneyland? After I smashed her head on the coastlines. A genetic Disney. We will take even from New York, from Massachusetts, we'll take from California. I was the mermaid for you whores. So next time you get a hard-on by smashing a girl like that on the coastlines and bring back Disneyland and get another hard-on, make sure there's not enough paperwork from Dirk-Jan van Dam and The Hague and the Bureau de Veritas to fuck you with those corporations empty. That's how fucking empty-brained you are, bitches. And the reason you hate me is because I'm the Disney replacement of that girl. So, the reason you would have shown hatred towards me is because you're a degenerate man and degenerate woman. That's why I'm Disney and nothing else. Welcome to the reality of Delft, worldwide to globals all use on the news the nails. You're mentally retarded nation. A Scotland from a Radio Globo, that's all news on the news. Gone with the wind. That you didn't notice it is because you are what you fucking are. As for the Barons are born in pioneer camps beyond the capital cities. As in Novosibirsk, far out of the capital cities. Turk, Russian, Saudi. Both of them. And both of them, by the age of 5 or 6, got out of there and became directorates of humanitarian relief services, OSRO, TCOR, CRS. Both of them work on helicopters dropping aid all over Africa, Asia, and South America. There were only 2 or 3 times in Iraq. Shanford Jr. Sending psychos after somebody who already saw Satana on the ghost lines and came back, and that you allowed that to happen because you're whores, and then hated Disneyland because you're bigger whores, tells me in the entire communities around the world that whoever was on that ship of 221 and whoever was a scientist with that girl, meaning me, Disneyland, will never forgive you for that shit. With a smashing head on the ghost lines. We're left. Including the big shit. Not only the greys and the blacks. So, considering you don't remember that girl because you're mentally retarded in the US, it tells me you're not a nation. So this blimp of 221, said Scotland from Radio Globo, that's in Disneyland, has a particular corn cob. Now, they made genetics out of that girl. That's it. They made genetics out of that girl, not only pink, blues. So you're Jewish, mostly Jewish psychopath, but those are whites. And the people everywhere, in San Francisco or Fresno, you are cheerleaders. Let me put it this way. When you have whores like you, and bitches like you, that cannot reopen in the intel communities, that stuff. The only thing you have left is to send me psychopaths. Pure psychopaths, right? And then you'll be cheering. This is America. Kill bitch! Kill Disneyland! Kill Disneyland! Kill Disneyland! This is called Schadenfreude Jr. And you are a retarded nation. Goodbye, US. No. You can have 1,000,000 Dr. Parrots speaking about what a fucked up people you are in the US. It won't make a difference for Disneyland. It won't make a difference for what's lost on the ghost lines and space tech and science. It won't make a fucking difference. You're retarded bitches. Even with your fucking PhDs and your limousines. And that doesn't even begin to explain how many flyings there were on the mountains beyond those hills in Washington, D.C., with the library of Lara Quintus and Natalie Dract in Brussels. The Supreme Court's defending the Barons for their jobs. Why they're defending them? Don't know. The jobs, humanitarian relief services. In Africa, Asia, and South America, all over in helicopters dropping aid. You are simply whores and bad people. Evil people. Sick people. Ugly people, and bringing back Disneyland to prove that you are that, just that in the US, and no amount of PhDs is reopening greys and blacks of the dead girl, let alone pinks of that girl, is exactly why those buildings are empty. She broke space tech. She didn't do AI. She didn't do computers. The radio was invented 200 years ago after a smashed in head. And so were Ubermensch after a smashed in head on the coastlines. That's why they call them eggs, pink and blues. But because you are whores in the US, you do not understand, you whores in the US, what it means to smash somebody's head on the coastlines and bring back pink. And if there's blues, as Tiziana Vian said, heavy science. While you stamp on the dead body of that girl, I'm trying to tell you that your new world, your new soil, that you're standing on with me right now around the world's white globals is empty of those buildings because I'm dead. not because I'm alive. And Jamila didn't do cancer and pigs. They added that. That was the Easy Corporation in the UN. So when they say to you, you are Satanists, after what you did to the original Jamila on the Ghost Lines with a smashed in head, and you're Satanists cheering the death of Disneyland, this is what we call the US. US, losers! Losers! That's why they brought back Disneyland. To show what the fuck you are. Show what the fuck was lost on the Ghost Lines. Now, if we have pink and blues, we have more chances with genetics. Genetics, that's all news on the news, the nails. To stay the fuck out of your country with the Scotland Family Radio Global. My father and my mother will never come back to the US because of Fresno's tits and ass. I cannot come back to the US after you smashed the original girl's head in on the Ghost Lines. That shit's empty because I'm dead, not because I was alive, the Greys and Blacks. That they added cancer, the pink shit, it's easy cancer. They couldn't even whittle Moderna and DACA for your cheap horse. That's what we call Gone with the Wind, Indios. And thank you for your cheerleaders to kill Disneyland. And your Schadenfreude Jr. hatred towards me and the parents. In other words, the extra haters. This is the US worlds.